Welcome back, everybody. Rob here, and doing a kind of another audio podcast thing with NOVAKORP podcast, and good lord, trying to think if there was anything newsworthy to talk about. Not really. World's imploding, this and that. People are bitching about, at least as far as I've seen in terms of, like, as I'm recording this, people were bitching about the streaming awards, this and that. Yeah, I think that's about it. People still can't write for shit in media, which, leads me to, what I'm going to be talking about today, which, I don't know how I feel about this movie. I'll just say this. Because, we're going to be talking about Annabelle, by the way. It was the first time I ever watched this damn movie. And I'm going to say this. Seeing the trailers, I was very, very, very disinterested in watching it. And you know what? My disinterest was for good reason, because this movie was garbage. It was trash. And overall, I was getting really, really annoyed with it. So, yeah, Annabelle. It was released on 2014. It was directed by John R. Linetti, written by Gary Dauberman. I'm just gonna call him Doberman. And then stars Ward Horton, Annabelle Wallace, and Alfred Woodard. So, yeah, no, this movie. So, I guess to start us off, this movie is a prequel, like, kind of side story of the quote-unquote Annabelle doll, which, again, if you know the history, it's a fucking Raggedy Ann doll. And how, like, who had it in their possession first in the earlier years. And we come across this couple who are about to have a baby. The wife of the couple, gets really, like, attached to this doll. Turns out, around the same time, some freaking, cultists show up to try to kill them, to summon a demon. Demon latches onto Annabelle, and then it just... I'm gonna say, like, as I'm watching this, I felt like it was note for note, like, predictable. Like, every time something came up, a jump scare, this and that, it was easy to predict. And it was not interesting to me whatsoever. Like, this movie was not great at all. And going back to, my biggest gripe about this fucking thing, too. Sorry if people get offended with me cursing. I curse. But the thing that bugs the ever-living hell out of me is the Annabelle doll. I think this, I'm going to say this. I said it before, and I'll say it again. This thing is not fucking scary, okay? This thing is not scary. If anything, it's very forced on how scary this thing is supposed to be. And again, it doesn't do its fucking job. The original, as I said before, it would have been creepier if it was just a regular old Annabelle doll, and they were doing some, like, CGI or something to make it, like, even scarier. What they do to try to make it scary is periodically showing what the demon looks like, which, even then, it's just like, it's like the stereotypical demon. Or at least depiction of a demon, I should say. Which, good lord. It was, this was not great. I know I keep saying that over and over again, but I just can't stand this movie. And then I want to say, like, towards the end, when things start ramping up, or sorry, quote unquote ramping up, it's not the best. And there's a movie that I don't think I've reviewed yet, and I'm going to eventually, called Drag Me to Hell. And I've noticed, like, especially with a lot of horror movies, there is always this trope of a dumb blonde doing really stupid shit that's gonna get them killed, or trying to save their soul or save someone else's soul. It's like, and then in the end, it's like they're basically put in a scenario where they can't fucking win. It happened in movies like Drag Me to Hell, which, again, at some point I will react to that. I'm not a big fan of it. I think it's a garbage film. And with this, again, you have the wife who is, I want to say, the wife wasn't interesting. I didn't feel bad for the character. And it seems like a character that they introduced like halfway through ends up like kind of biting the bullet for our main characters, which I don't know. Again, I don't know how I feel about it, but either way, yeah. I mean, this, like, do I even need to like kind of stress this even further? This movie was trash. Like, it was absolutely, unequivocally trash. And I feel like if we really wanted to, like, first off, I'll say this. My personal opinion, especially since CGI was getting really good around the time that this movie was released, which was, 2014. I mean, honestly, first, especially with the first Conjuring movie, they should have just made a Raggedy Ann. And considering what they do with, like, the Conjuring 2, with the Crooked Man, they should have done shit like that, where you have the demon that's possessing the Raggedy Ann doll, but it, like, every once in a while, like, in a hallucination or something, it freaking turns into this monstrosity of a creature. So, anyway, yeah, I got nothing else I need to say other than burning and pissing on the ashes. That's no, I'm being legit serious. Like, burn it and piss on the ashes. Hopefully, Annabelle doesn't come and try to possess you. But either way, this movie does deserve burn it, piss on the ashes. So, anyway, this was a very short, very, 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 very short podcast. Just me kind of shitting on this movie because, let's face it, it's not that great. I mean, hell, the major rating for this movie is a 5. I'm going lower because I couldn't stand it. I couldn't stand the characters. I couldn't stand, the doll. I think that was the biggest factor for me. And honestly, when I'm gonna say this, just as an added bonus, I'm gonna say this, is if you're going to freaking, create a movie that's based on a toy, and you thought it was the right idea to basically make this thing as creepy as all hell. First, no, it's not fucking creepy. It's annoying. Second, I feel like something that was a little bit more innocent, or looked a little bit more innocent, like, again, a Raggedy fucking Ann doll, like it is in real life, would have made much more sense. Because in a way, that gets you off guard. of what's going on. So eventually, when everything starts popping off, then you kind of question whether it is actually the doll or something else. But anyway, that's it. I'm done. I don't have anything else I need to say. So thank you all for watching. Truly appreciate it. If you guys can, please like, comment, share, subscribe, all the good stuff. If you guys want to follow us on social media, it's all in the description down below, as well as check out our daily content and the weekly podcast. With that being said, this is Rob Novakast signing off. Have a good one. Take care. And I'll see you guys next video.